Welcome to episode 56, Compliance Resources and Reports. In regulated environments, compliance is not a static achievement, but an ongoing demonstration of control. Every certification, attestation, or audit report serves as tangible evidence that security and privacy standards are operating as intended. In the cloud, understanding where this evidence lives and how to interpret it is essential for auditors, risk managers, and security teams. Google Cloud simplifies this process through a well-defined library of compliance artifacts that map to global frameworks and industry-specific regulations. Navigating these materials effectively allows organizations to assemble proof quickly, align with oversight expectations, and maintain confidence in their operational integrity. Compliance documentation is more than paperwork. It is a mechanism for transparency, accountability, and trust. Official attestations and supporting documentation can be found through Google Cloud's Compliance Resource Center, the Trust and Safety Portal, or through customer support under non-disclosure agreements for restricted materials. These sources contain audit summaries, certifications, and white papers detailing how Google's internal controls align with external frameworks. For example, a healthcare organization seeking HIPAA compliance can access SOC 2 and ISO reports verifying that the platform's infrastructure already meets key confidentiality and integrity requirements. Centralizing this information streamlines due diligence, allowing customers to retrieve the evidence they need directly rather than through lengthy correspondence. Knowing where to locate these resources is the first step toward building a clear, defensible compliance narrative. Understanding report types, such as SOC and ISO, clarifies what each document represents. System and Organization Controls, or SOC, reports are issued by independent auditors and describe how a service provider manages security, availability, processing integrity, confidentiality, and privacy. SO1 focuses on financial reporting, while SOC 2 and SOC 3 address general operational controls. ISO certifications, such as ISO 27001 for information security or ISO 27018 for data privacy, confirm that Google Cloud's management systems adhere to international standards. These reports are complementary rather than redundant. SO reports emphasize operational assurance through testing results, while ISO certifications validate systematic, policy-driven governance. Together, they provide both evidence of process maturity and proof of consistent performance. Regional frameworks and sector-specific standards extend beyond global norms to address local laws and specialized industries. Google Cloud maintains alignments with frameworks such as the European Union's General Data Protection Regulation, the United States Federal Risk and Authorization Management Program, known as FedRAMP, and industry certifications like PCI DSS for payment data or HITRUST for healthcare. Each framework targets different regulatory objectives but shares common principles of security, accountability, and transparency. For instance, FedRAMP authorization assures government agencies that cloud services meet stringent federal security baselines. Understanding which frameworks apply to your business ensures compliance evidence is relevant, not generic, reinforcing the credibility of your certification portfolio. Compliance in the cloud depends on distinguishing between shared and customer-specific controls. Shared controls represent the intersection where Google Cloud's infrastructure responsibilities meet customer configuration responsibilities. For example, Google ensures the physical and environmental security of its data centers, while customers configure access management, encryption, and logging within their own projects. Clarity about this boundary prevents audit gaps. Customers who rely solely on provider attestations without addressing their own configurations risk incomplete compliance coverage. Recognizing where the shared line falls, whether in access control, data retention, or encryption management, is essential for building an accurate compliance map that reflects both sides of the operational relationship. The Customer Responsibility Matrix, or CRM, provides a structured walkthrough of this shared model. It outlines every major control category, marking whether responsibility lies with Google, the customer, or both. Compliance teams use the matrix to plan audits, assign ownership, and verify that no control is left unaccounted for. For instance, a control labeled Joint under Access Management means Google secures the underlying identity platform, but customers must enforce least privilege within their projects. Walking through the CRM during onboarding clarifies who performs each function and how evidence should be collected. It becomes a roadmap for auditors, bridging technical configuration with governance obligations. Accessing audit artifacts securely ensures that sensitive reports maintain their integrity and confidentiality. Some compliance documents, such as detailed SOC2 reports, contain proprietary information and are shared only under formal agreements. Customers typically request these through Google Cloud Support or their account representatives, using secure download portals with access expiration and tracking. This process protects the credibility of the audit while granting legitimate stakeholders the insight they need. Once received, organizations should store these artifacts within restricted repositories, accessible only to authorized compliance staff. Secure distribution respects the confidentiality agreements tied to these reports and ensures auditors can rely on them as authentic, unaltered evidence. Mapping reports to control objectives transforms raw documentation into actionable compliance proof. Each report section correlates with specific requirements in frameworks like NIST, ISO, or local privacy laws. Analysts can annotate these mappings in governance tools to show which controls are already satisfied by Google's attestations and which require customer action. For example, a SOC 2 control about encryption at rest may map directly to the organization's internal control for storage security. This alignment accelerates audit preparation and minimizes duplication. It also enables continuous tracking. When a new report is published, mapped relationships automatically update, keeping compliance posture accurate and current. Interpreting the scope, carve-outs, and exceptions of reports prevents misrepresentation of coverage. Each attestation defines the services, locations, and time periods examined. Carve-outs identify components excluded from testing, such as newer services or third-party integrations. Exceptions document findings or issues noted during audits, often accompanied by remediation timelines. Understanding these details allows compliance teams to evaluate residual risk realistically. For instance, if a SOC report excludes a recently launched compute service, auditors know to request supplementary evidence. Transparency about scope ensures that assurance claims remain credible and that stakeholders appreciate the boundaries of validated security coverage. Continuous monitoring and status updates replace static, once-a-year audit cycles with ongoing visibility. Google Cloud maintains internal monitoring programs that track the health of compliance controls across its global infrastructure. Customers can subscribe to update notifications or review status dashboards in the Compliance Resource Center. These updates include certification renewals, framework additions, or changes in service coverage. Continuous monitoring ensures evidence remains fresh and traceable over time. Organizations that integrate this data into their compliance processes gain the ability to detect shifts in alignment early and maintain continuous readiness for external reviews or regulator inquiries. Integrating evidence into governance, risk, and compliance, or GRC systems, helps automate tracking and reporting. Modern GRC tools allow importing audit documents, associating them with control frameworks, and linking them to responsible owners. For instance, a company could upload Google's ISO 27017 certificate into its internal GRC dashboard to satisfy control references for cloud service governance. Automated reminders prompt updates when certificates expire or when frameworks evolve. This integration streamlines reporting to executives and auditors, transforming compliance from manual collection into a managed, data-driven process that reduces redundancy and error. Vendor risk questionnaires and responses represent another area where compliance artifacts deliver value. Procurement and security teams often request proof of control effectiveness before approving new services or renewing contracts. Google Cloud standardized responses to industry questionnaires, such as the Cloud Security Alliance's CAIQ, help expedite these reviews. By referencing official attestations, organizations can answer vendor assessments quickly and confidently. For example, citing Google's ISO 27018 certification demonstrates alignment with privacy standards without duplicating detailed audits. Leveraging these pre-validated materials strengthens third-party risk management and fosters consistent, transparent communication with partners and customers. Communicating compliance posture clearly ensures that non-technical stakeholders understand what certifications and reports signify. Executives and clients may not read SOC reports line by line, but they rely on concise summaries that link evidence to business outcomes. Dashboards or executive briefs can highlight certification coverage, recent renewals, and pending assessments. For example, presenting that all core infrastructure services are certified under ISO 27001 reassures leadership that foundational security is continuously verified. Clear communication turns technical assurance into organizational confidence, demonstrating that compliance is both achieved and actively maintained through verifiable practice. Defensible compliance packages combine documentation, mappings, and ongoing monitoring into a single cohesive portfolio. A defensible package tells the complete story: what standards apply, how controls are implemented, what evidence supports them, and how they are maintained over time. Rather than scrambling for documents during audits, teams can present structured, continuously updated repositories that prove compliance readiness at any moment. This proactive approach not only simplifies regulatory reviews, but also demonstrates maturity to customers and partners. By assembling evidence thoughtfully, organizations transform compliance from reactive obligation into a sustained advantage rooted in trust, clarity, and operational excellence. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit DailyCyber.News.